I was going to do a different video today, but to be frank, um, health-wise, things have been so horrific. I just wanted to talk about that. So, first off, I'm not sure which came first, though I'm mostly sure that I'm not sure which came first, interstitial cystitis or chronic urinary tract infections, though I'm 90% sure that or um yeah, well, let's not even say 90. I don't really see how the interstitial cystitis could come first, but it's such a weird thing. Who knows? Um, Point is, I definitely have both. I haven't dealt with such extreme interstitial, IC for short, pain in quite some time due to um, extensive antibiotic use, which decreases the inflammation in the bladder. So dealt with pain on that. I apologize. I'm in a significant amount of pain right now, though. Um, Man, my I growing up with tears because I'm so appreciative of having support and beauty while I was in that amount of pain. But I'm still in a good amount of pain now, so it's even harder to think. So since I've been on antibiotics, I really haven't had severe IC pain in a while, and though the bladder spasms from a suprapubic catheter, and I suppose when I was also regular cathing, the amount of soreness that would occur, especially before I switched to a specific catheter designed for people with urethral issues, was somewhat comparable, especially the bladder spasms. Um, they could definitely get me to the point where I was yelling. But just to illustrate, right? I had Crohn's that is the most severe of the severe. Sometimes having diarrhea over 40 times a day, and I won't be graphic, but let's just say it was torment and borderline torture, I guess you could say. But I would take 2 weeks of that, of Crohn's at my worst, at its worst, over say 4 to 6 hours of a severe IC flare up. The bladder is such excruciating pain, and what's also amazing about it is literally there's no indication, um, unless you have an ulcer, which is a separate disease from IC. I think about 10% of people with IC have ulcers. Um, um, just one minute, 1 minute. Um, I would take weeks of severe Crohn's pain for like for 4 to 6 hours of a severe IC flare. If you go on forums uh, for people with severe IC, it's not uncommon, uh, particularly people that are in the shock of it coming out of the blue, as it often does. Completely normal people, tough people. For instance, I remember a lawyer. It's like I feel like I'm going insane. It's only been 3 hours of this. I'm really screaming and etc. Um, there's definitely times with the Crohn's where I really, really wanted to scream, but I could hold myself back. But um, it's next to impossible not to yell when the IC is severe. So I was so literally completely out of the blue, not even mild pain. So like maybe 4 to 5 days back, I was getting some pain and then some moderate pain, but for like 2 to 3 days, not even mild pain. And out of the blue tonight, I just had an icy flare. Nothing triggered it whatsoever. Um, and it's just random like that. Um, and I was just couldn't help but yell in particular, when there are different breeds of IC pain. Sometimes it's consistent, sometimes it's more of a spasmy for whatever reason. When it would just spasm like extra hard. I don't necessarily think spasm is the right word. I just could not help but yell. This lasts for hours, and I, I didn't do it in front of anyone, but like when I would be on the toilet, I didn't notice that there was a ton of hair, in there, just because I was ripping it out without even thinking about it. So basically, no matter, you think you're tough, but or normal mentally, but a severe IC flare will have you pacing and ripping out your hair for hours. Um, so it's hard to be reminded of that, and it really gives me forgiveness for anything wild I did. When it came to say trying to procure some type of substance to take away the pain. Mostly kratom, never any other form of opioid, despite recommendations to pain management, because that's just a whole other horror to add on. I would rather, when things get extreme, really severe, take kratom extract. But I mean, the people that deal with severe, I see on a daily basis. Living a nightmare would be an understatement. Um, it's truly hard to comprehend, and in fact, I mean, as someone that suffered with my own autoimmune disease and with chronic urinary tract infections, which is different to a lot of the people that I see, do get a lot of UTIs, and I can't go into the weeds, but no one knows anything about anything when it comes to the bladder. I mean, pretty terrible when it comes to GI, but bladder is literally nothing. Nothing. Not even not even a treatment that works. They have one treatment basically proven to be almost completely ineffective, except for a minority of people with significant side effects. So this event ongoing, not as bad as it was. It's definitely gonna keep me up this whole night, though. And combined with before it, I was already having a really rough day, still recovering from the GI and Crohn's flare in general. Both from ear infection in one ear, one hurting a lot. It was that inflamed. Um, then, with as mentioned, feeling very sick from withdrawal from kratom, but really it's more like opiate withdrawal because uh, I've already went over this. The point of all this is it's very hard not to be depressed when you're feeling significant pain. It sure brings on a lot of issues, like, my life for about 8 years now has been just feels like a sick joke where I can literally see just so easily so much, such an amazing life right in front of me, and being unable to, no matter how much I try to be able to grasp that life, and also as a result, um, costing people money and suffering that are around me, having to witness um, the disease, and of course, just the suffering alone, and of course, the negative effects that are, you know, related to my own decisions regarding dealing with things. Um, it truly does make one feel hopeless and parasitic, and when you combine that with intense suffering, it's no surprise that you um, self-deletion thoughts go through your head, and for the vast majority, there's so much hope it getting better. It will likely take years, though have compiled based on such extensive experience and research and dealing with top doctors and alternative medicine, etc. But I've been reading every book on autoimmune, of course, um, some multiple times, into a protocol that will make things significantly faster would be the goal of confidence in them. There are people that are complex cases that you know uh, may not be able to get better, or they'll be able to get better somewhat, but still be in a horrible position, still disabled, etc. And truly, the psychology of dealing with health problems is just as important to address as the physical health problems. Though, of course, I find it ludicrous. Doctors say I'm depressed and antidepressant. It's like, depressed, I mean, I can't do anything. I may have been, might as well be on house arrest for my youth. I mean, when I was out of bed, it was with, help. If you catch my drift, and oftentimes I would end up, anytime I would push myself even a little bit, it wasn't unusual to sleep 16 to 20 hours and have to recover for days. It may sound insane to you, but that's the life of someone that's that is that sick. So it's just I haven't had a break in so long. I'm so difficult to remain hopeful when bi-weekly at best there's something significant going on regarding health. And then, of course, that affects your personal life as well. Though today, even though my health was at extremely low, it was still a great day because of my personal life and the relationships um, that I have. Um, there's been a million times where objectively it was a bad day, but it was a good or oftentimes great day. And I made the best I can out of all this stuff. And to be frank, outside looking in, something that would I I've done, yeah, they look wild or even stupid, but to be frank, it's adapting to a very difficult situation. And to, again, to be frank, I don't even have much regret for a lot of those decisions because it was the better of two evils and kept me going. When if I had just, you know, was a good boy and also just listen to my doctors. I mean, come on. In middle school, high school, I knew how stupid that was, let alone when you have a serious illness and no one has any idea what the fuck is going on and could care, most of the time could care less. The thing that kept me going when I was it got super severe at 18 years old. When I was younger, was never narcissistic. It was truly about what I could do for others. Now, unfortunately, with the disease active and you're suffering so much every day in pain, that does put you towards narcissism. But again, that can and should be forgiven because there's very good reason. It's very difficult to not think about yourself when you're endlessly in a state of severe suffering. I mean, going back to doctors again, it's just like, oh, I'm feeling depressed right now. It's like you're in severe pain, and you haven't made it more than 3 weeks without a significant health event in years. You have these multiple rare conditions that dramatically affect day-to-day life. And there's not some level of sadness and frustration, anxiety when you see the years go by and you see not just losers, average people. Really, they're even doing better than you. like because you're stuck, disabled, and you literally give everything you've got to make it through, and in return you get more suffering. That's the life. If I put in half of the effort, if I being healthy, the amount of to you know half of the amount of um, discipline, suffering. I mean, the external rewards would you, that I put in just surviving. The external rewards would be amazing. And I mean, to see myself just like this still to all these years, when you know, person after person, I mean, it was assumed that I was going to be a great success. Um, and not from my family, but from people that interacted with me. It was just very, very impressed from a relatively young age. And look at me, I could have played video games and I don't know, whatever the hell people do in my generation, but I'm a young curmudgeon in that I've always just wanted to build a business and build up myself, not do these frivolous things. I'm a serious person that's been forced to become somewhat frivolous because what the hell else do I have to do? You feel horrible all day and you're disabled, and so what are you supposed to do with the life you're given? I've had more adventures than the vast majority, even with that. But, you know, whatever. It's hard to accept this some days. But the moment you lose hope is, I mean, you're in every day is a fight in horrendous conditions. It's, if you're in a severe case, and from like most famously in the book, um, Man's Search for Meaning, they could tell when someone was gonna die just by the shift in attitude in the Nazi camps, right? So, if you're interested in what I do during days like this, probably listen to more music than anyone you've ever heard. I only listen to music because I'm only interested in albums. Listen to 7 albums today. Um, back in the day, I would just live quite a bohemian lifestyle, let's say. But quite some time now. Well, I actually was healthy, some on and off when I was in a really bad state, such as now. Um, to be frank, it's really just you're in bed and you're sick. You force yourself to do what you can. And a lot of time that's not much. And trust me, this is from someone that knows how to push. If I get healthy, you'll see me balloon up inside and bodybuilding, for instance. I was never ever the guy that was messing around, not putting in. I always put in the 2 to 3 reps that mattered. To use that analogy. Anyways, I'm super depressed, but that's how you are for years with this, and you keep going. So I hope the pain at least goes down. Who knows? Maybe I'll sleep tonight. I don't know. I'm filming this video late. It's supposed to be today's video. It's already, the next day technically. It's just so painful. And believe me, it's difficult for physical pain to dominate the psychological regret from having all these illnesses. But right now, I guess that dominates. There's not much that can be said for true pain. There's nothing that can really be learned from it. It's just so. It's just so horrible. Alright, that's it. Hope we have a better video tomorrow. This video is more for me to actually do something despite this nightmare of a day health-wise, though. I can't complain. You look like it's really like starting again as I ended. I swear. I don't. Great timing. So obviously I can't do a video when it's in the thrall of things. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. No worries about me, of course. I've been, I'm straight. Still very young. Still hope. There's still great people around me. That even if worse comes to worse, the respect from them, seeing me push through, it's worth it. And of course, that combined with the inner respect. So that's it.